Hey, high yield dividend warriors. When it comes to building a portfolio that generates both strong income and long-term growth, high income ETFs are an increasingly popular way for investors to seek those high yields without sacrificing capital appreciation. But not all high income ETFs are created equal. Some shine with consistent dividends, others with impressive short-term performance. And then there's a few that balance the best of both worlds. They are the best income ETFs out there. Now, I use this top-notch secret proprietary data-driven research to come up with these top 10 income ETFs. So some of the criteria that I use is we'll be taking a look at the performance since August 15th. What is so significant about August 15th? Well, August 15th was the last time these power ranking videos were made. So remember guys, power rankings, it's not always what have you done for me always, it's what have you done for me recently. Just like in life, you always remember what people have done for you recently. You forget all the good things that they may have done for you in the past. Now, another thing we're going to be taking a look at is those dreaded words that every investor hates to hear. Say it with me. NAV erosion. We don't want to see NAV erosion. Any good, smart investor knows that NAV erosion is the perfect way to destroy your returns over time. So we will be putting extra emphasis on ETFs that don't have lots of NAV erosion. And with these income ETFs, the goal isn't always necessarily to see the ETF share price just go up and up, but we should be seeing it go up a little bit over time. As long as it's not going down, even if it remained relatively flat or had slow growth, that would be fine too. We'll also be taking a look at those dividend payments. Ideally, we want real dividends from profits on options trading. I can't believe I even need to say this, but if an ETF is simply giving you back your own money and calling it a dividend, that is not a true dividend. In fact, that is a dividend fugazi. It is a Mickey Mouse dividend. It is not real dividends, guys. So we want real dividends, not just a bunch of return on capital. And then, of course, I always look in the comment section. There is thousands of income ETFs coming out every single week, it seems like these days. There's a new fund manager buying an expensive mansion in South Florida with all the proceeds from all this money that is flowing in from income ETFs. So since I don't have time to research every single ETF, that's where I take a look in the comments, see what you guys are suggesting, because you guys come up with some great ideas in the comments, and that makes me rank some ETFs even higher or include them on the list. Number 10, T-SPY Tap Alpha. So this is the growth and daily income ETF. Now this won't be an overview of any of the funds. We're just going to be taking a look at some recent performance. So since August 15th, the fund is up 3.54%. This fund has launched in August of 2024, so it's been around for over a year now, and that means we can take a look at its 12-month yield, which is 13.45%. That is pretty good. You can see it doesn't have any NAV erosion since it has come out, up 4.91%, so nearly 5% in about 14 months. Not bad at all, especially when it's paying those fat dividends. Let's take a closer look at how those dividends have been paying out in recent months. All right, so if we go to the past year here, guys, we can see it's consistently paying around that 29-cent mark. Oh my gosh, in October, you got a whole 1-cent raise. Now that might not sound like a lot, but if you're somebody that owns potentially thousands of shares of this ETF, even a whole penny raise could be a serious amount of money. Ever since inception, though, it's consistently been around that 27 to 30 cent range. I love to see that consistency. If we take a look at how much money is flowing, we want to see this generally go in an upward direction. That means a lot more investors are liking what they're seeing. So we can see T-SPY in the last 3 months, nearly $60 million of new money has went into this fund. Number 9, QQA Invesco. This is the triple Q Income Advantage ETF. This is another fund that I think is more low-key, but it does some great things. Since August 15th, the fund is up 3.36%. It was launched in July of 2024 and has returned some great capital appreciation, nearly 11% since they've come out. But even better for income lovers, they have close to a 10% dividend yield, 9.69 nice percent. So good capital appreciation, good starting dividend yield, no NAV erosion. What else could you ask for, guys? Let's take a look at that dividend history. So we can see in recent months, 42 cents, 44 cents, 44 cents again, and another back-to-back 45-cent months. I love to see that consistency. Another good one to keep on your watch list in QQA by the very trusty Invesco. These are the same guys that make one of the best ETFs in the world. The Triple Q is one of the most widely traded, most popular funds of all time, and a super low expense ratio of just 29 basis points. Number 8, SPY QQI by Neos, or Neos, however the heck you pronounce it. They make some fantastic income ETFs for us investors. So we can see a lot of money is pouring into SPY. Look how crazy this is, guys. In the last 3 months, they have $1.2 billion. That's billion with a B that have poured into this fund. Year to date, that's $3 billion. You can see rarely are people taking out their money. This means a lot of investors are very attracted, not only to these returns, but the consistency of the dividends has made them not want to leave. So since August 15th, SPY is up 1.53%. The Triple QI is up 2.12%. Now, this was a fund that was launched in September of 2022, so it's already 3 years old now. So it has that history of consistent performance. It has a 12-month yield of 11.67%. That's about a 1% return every single month, which is absolutely insane. And we can see it does have some capital appreciation, up 8.10% all time. Switching over to Triple QI real quick, nearly a 14% dividend yield, absolutely insane. Pays out monthly dividends, and capital appreciation wise, they're up 9.35%. Let's take a look at this dividend as well. So in the last few months, they've been paying 63 cents, 64 cents, 63, 64. So very consistent again. You know, if you're in retirement, you want to be able to pay for your living expenses. You want that consistent income. You don't want your dividends to be super high one month and then super low another month. That's going to be really hard for you to plan your retirement if the variable dividend just has too much volatility. I would rather much have a very consistent, safe dividend. Number 7, JEPI, JEPQ, JP Morgan Chase. All right, the old reliable in JEPI. JEPI is up 14.71% since they were launched, and get this, May of 2020. That's been over 5 years, about to hit its 6-year anniversary next year. They might not pay the highest of dividends, 8.26% right now, but you can see a lot of people trust in them. They have $41 billion in assets under management. Of course, it's managed by the very powerful JP Morgan Chase. It has a super low expense ratio of just 35 basis points. It's been paying out dividends quite frequently. So since the last time we made this video, JEPI is up 1.36%. JEPQ, on the other hand, is up nearly 5%. Let's take a look at some of this dividend history. All right, their most recent dividends have been 40 cents, 36 cents, 37 cents, and 36 cents. Though JEPI does have a little bit more variability. Last June, it was 54 cents. I actually do own JEPI in my personal portfolio, so I definitely have seen a lot of this fluctuation. Luckily, or maybe not so luckily, I'm not retired yet, so I don't need to be relying on the income from JEPI, but hey, in retirement, I would want that to be a little bit more consistent. When we take a look at JEPQ, we can see the dividend has fallen as well since June, 62 cents, 49 cents, 44 cents, 44 again, and then another 45 center this most recent month. But where JEPQ really shines is that it does have some recent very good performance. In the last 6 months, it's up nearly 16%. A very juicy yield of 10.21%. Again, super low expense ratio. This is one that you probably don't need to worry too much about at night. So love to see it. No, we're not going to become rich. We're going to become filthy rich. It's crazy how rich we're gonna get. Number 6, QDPL, the Pacer US Large Cap Dividend Multiplier 400 ETF. This is probably one of the lesser known, lesser talked about income ETFs out there, but they have done a very good job since they launched in July of 21. They are up 24% in capital appreciation. They might not pay the largest of dividend yields, but getting nearly a 5% trailing 12-month yield is very good. I don't care what high income ETFs have totally warped people's minds on what is actually realistic. This is a much better product than a lot of these
80% yields every single year for the rest of your life. For the rest of your life ETFs.
Guys, I would rather take the safe and steady versus some high flying, high crashing ETF. At the end of the day, guys, you are the one that needs to put your head on that pillow every single night, and you need to be able to sleep knowing where your money is. And trust me, when I first started investing, there was many nights where I was worried about where my money was, but I got smart about investing, and now I sleep real good at night. All right, going back to QDPL, again, have some great capital appreciation. They don't have the highest of starting dividend yield, but they have been consistent here, guys. Let's take a look at that dividend history. So it looks like they may have changed their strategy. It looks like they used to be paying quarterly dividends. Now it looks like it's every single month. At the end of the day, guys, it doesn't matter if they pay monthly, doesn't matter if they pay weekly. What matters is you learn how to budget correctly, and a smart investor would never care about such trivial things like that. Number 5, QDVO IDVO from Amplify. Amplify is one of those ETF providers that I don't think gets enough credit for how good of products they put out. QDVO is up 2.56%. IDVO is up 5.46% since August 15th. That is some great performance. If we look at how long QDVO has been out, since August of 2024, so about 14 months. Yeah, not super long, but the performance has been pretty good. Up 18.41%, and it's giving out a 9% yield. And investors are definitely starting to take notice. We can see that they've had $222 million being poured into this fund in just the last 3 months. Really, they didn't have a lot of interest in this fund until really about the summertime when a lot of these power ranking videos came out, and they highlighted the great performance of these funds. I have to thank the YouTube comments for this one. IDVO is another Amplify product. It has a lower starting yield, just 5.26%. In the last year, it's done really well, up nearly 21%. And we can see they launched in September of 2022, and they have 45% capital appreciation. That is insane. For this high of a starting yield, I love to see it. A slightly higher expense ratio at 66 basis points. Let's take a look at their dividend history. We can actually see it does seem to be going in an upward direction, which is always nice to see. So in July, they paid 17 cents. August, it was 18 cents. And their most recent dividend at the end of September was 19 cents. For something that's trading at $37 a share right now, to get a 19-cent monthly dividend income going to your pockets every single month, that has to be a good feeling. Number 4, iSpy, IQQQ. This is a fund that has been ranked number 1 before on my power rankings. iSpy was up 4.6% since last time. IQQQ was actually up 6.94%. That's just fantastic capital appreciation. iSpy in general is up 13.81%. It launched in December of 2023, so it's about to hit its second birthday here, guys. For me, the way that I look at iSpy and IQQQ is that they've had some amazing recent performance, and they have really high starting yields. iSpy is just a touch under 10%. Looks like they just crossed the $1 billion threshold in funds under management. Now, iSpy is one of those where the dividend definitely varies every single month. Let's take a look at how sporadic this is. Yeah, when it looks like this, you know it's something funky is definitely going on. Oh my gosh, what the heck happened to that dividend in July? This is what I'm talking about, guys. If you're in retirement and you start getting dividend checks like what they had in April, you might start to live a little bit lavishly, and then you have months like July when you only got paid 5 cents. They did bounce back a little bit in September, 19 cents, and then their most recent one was 10 cents. So some people, they might not like those extremely volatile dividends. For others, they might just like the capital appreciation and the dividends. And they know within a year, they might get a certain percent yield, and they can just divvy that up accordingly, budget correctly throughout the year. Let's take a quick look at IQQQ as well. Up nearly 11% since they launched in March of 2024. It has a 10.35% dividend yield. IQQQ is on the smaller end, just $300 million in assets under management. In the last 3 months, about $62 million have poured into this fund. So for a fund like this, that is actually a considerable amount of money, but nothing compared to what we've seen in a lot of the other popular income ETFs. All right, guys, we've reached the podium of the income ETFs. Now, if you're still sticking around, question your sanity, because it's only about to get a little bit crazier. Number 3, Bali iShares BlackRock US Large Cap Premium Income Active ETF. This is one of my favorites. Bali is up 2.13% since the last update video. It was released in September of 2023. We can see it's had some fantastic capital appreciation, nearly 28%. Juicy yield of 8.19%, low expense ratio, and some good juicy dividends here, guys. Latest dividends were 20 cents, 19 cents, and 19 cents again. Bali's one of those that I just keep in my portfolio, let the dividends come in, count the checks, move on with life. Number 2, RDVI, TDVI by FT Vest. These are the Rising Dividend Achievers Target Income ETF. If you've never heard of these funds, you're not alone. I never heard of these funds until I had super smart people in the comments tell me all about them. So thank you to those people. These funds are absolutely fantastic. I'm going to have to make a separate video on these because this performance, you're going to see why it's ranked number 2. All right, so RDVI was launched in October of 2022. And get this, guys. They are up 27% and have paid a super juicy 7.5% dividend yield. Looking at their dividend history, look how amazing this is. They've consistently been paying cash dividends to its investors. But it gets even better because TDVI pays out about a 6.5% dividend yield. And get this, guys, capital appreciation of 47%. 47% for an income ETF. This is absolutely insane. This fund has been out since August of 2023. This is some amazing performance. And I guarantee that you've probably never heard of this income ETF. That's the power of this community, guys. I'm going to keep it simple and short for this one because I want to make a separate video about these guys. So let's move on to number 1. If you thought TDVI was good, oh man, it only gets better. Number 1, GPIX, Goldman Sachs. Was this ever in serious doubt? What other income ETF provides this great of funds than the Goldman Sachs duo here of GPIQ, which was up 4.65%, and GPIX, which was up 3.55%. Look at this yield, guys. 8% yield for GPIX. GPIQ, this is going to be on the NASDAQ 100. That has an even higher yield of 9.5%. But most importantly, with these funds, you are getting consistent capital appreciation. You're getting consistent dividends. GPIQ is up nearly 40% since it was launched 2 years ago now. GPIX is up 35% since they were also launched 2 years ago. They just hit their second birthday. GPIQ and GPIX, these are just strong all around. They have among the highest yields on this list, and they just have amazing growth and have just been so consistent. They are the mark of excellence. I don't know how else to put it. Until another income ETF provider can consistently give better performance than these Goldman Sachs funds, it's not even going to be close what the best income ETFs out there are. At the end of the day, guys, this is just my opinion. You have to be the one that makes the best investing decision for you, and what you might think is your top 10 might be very different. But be sure to let me know in the comments. That's the best way that we could all learn from each other. If you're listening on podcast form under the Collect Cash podcast name, please be sure to leave a 5-star review. These videos do take a lot of time for me to research and edit and put together, so be sure to leave a like.
I don't know how many more beach houses I want to help pay for Jay. He just got his new beach house that he's posted in Palm Springs mansion. So
Jay got a beach house?
yeah, he posted about a new beach house in Palm Springs.
Wow,
Palm Beach in
he's
Florida.
making money off of us, right? And the yield max is going down.